Don't know about you guys, but myself, when a piece of my own equipment decides that it's going to go intermittent or go down, it kind of frustrates me, especially when it's so intermittent that it'll do the problem once in a while and then it'll be fine for another period of time until I go to need it again, and then I have to spend 15 minutes trying to get the thing to work. And that's exactly what happened with my GV HD700. It starts throwing random codes. We're going to get into this thing and see if we can figure out why it's doing it and see if I can solve the problem. This is my Sony GV HD700, and I'm getting some errors on it as of late. And I wonder if the errors are going to be duplicated. Let's see if it's going to do it this time. Or is it going to work? It's kind of hit and miss. When I close down the tape, sometimes it will come up with an error. Like that one. C3123. And if I just reinsert the cassette several times, it will usually work. It doesn't eat the tape. And I'm thinking that maybe the problem on this is that the my flashlight here, I want to observe what's going on in here while it's trying to load. I'm thinking maybe the tape might be sticking to the drum or something. Can I see the tape when it goes in? Oh, I can't even see it. That's the problem. But it'll do this several times and then it'll work. And what I think might be happening is we might have some debris. Now, I'm guessing here, but there might be some debris on the drum or parts that the tape makes contact with, because when you first load the tape, what happens is the system goes through like a forward and then a reverse. Oops, I just triggered it to eject there. Like it tries to wind the tape forward and then backwards. And if the tape were to be stuck to, say, a guide or something, and there was slack detected, it would trigger that emergency stop. Let's see if we can see it now with the top removed. Can I see the tape when it goes in? Can I see what it's doing? Probably not, but of course this time it works, you see. It did the forward, backwards, and it worked this time. But I have a sneaking suspicion it might be just dirt. But I don't know how to even get in here to clean it, because everything back in here is so far back. Like I gotta pull this thing apart, I think, just to see this. Wonderful. Yeah, great design, Sony. I'll start by removing the screws on the bottom. Get the bottom of the cabinet open. It's been doing this for a while. I've just been living with it. But since I do a fair number of DV tapes, this is one of the machines I've been using. I sometimes use the cameras, but I usually use this one when I'm dumping DV tapes over to digital. To the computer. They're already digital. Get a kick out of it when someone says, "Hey, I need you to digitize my my mini DV tapes." It's like, well, your mini DV tapes are already digital. We just need to basically transfer them over. That's all we do, is we just transfer them over. Okay, so that pops off like that. Now, I think the deck can be lifted out. The deck is here. Will it lift out as a separate piece, or do I have to lift the top off of it? It's been so long since I've been into this machine. So I want to kind of get the deck out so that I can try to clean the transport with alcohol, of all things. Can I get to it from here? Not really. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I can't really get in here very well. But it might even be the back of the guide too. Look, the guide looks like it's got some debris on it, so it might be tape sticking to the guide. Because this is not going to be that easy to get at. To pull this mechanism out, I got all these stupid ribbon cables in here. It's yeah, these are not fun to work on. Looks like there's a screw there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like there's 5 screws that hold it in place. But I got all these stupid ribbon connectors that have to be done as well. Maybe I'll try to get to the transport from here. Unplug the power. I might be able to get in here, right through the top hole here and into here. We're going to try that first before I disassemble this thing too much. I wonder if I can get in there with a Q-tip. And I might be able to get to those guides. I can get to these ones for sure. I'll try that without taking this thing down too far. The less I have to take it apart, the better. Well, this will show up on camera, but maybe I can use my flashlight to see better. But I want to clean these guides here. Pinch roller and these guides here. Get them cleaned off. They're so flimsy, you just want to really be careful with them. There's another guide over here. Another guide over here. And then if I can get into the lower drum here and try to clear the lower drum off without touching the heads. I can see the head there. Move it out of the way. Try to clear the lower drum. Another guide in the back. And where's the rest of them? There's another guide. There's another one over here. I don't think so. I think it's just these ones down here. Back tension. Guide down here, a stationary guide. I'm going to let this thing dry for a while before I attempt to load a tape or anything into it, just to make sure that there's no residue of any liquid. Otherwise it certainly will eat the tape. Capstan shaft. Just want to make sure that all these stationary guides are clear of any debris. I mean, some of these guys look so flimsy and loose, right? These mechanisms, they all look, I mean, if I can get a close-up, these DV mechanisms are just so fragile looking. And look at how loose everything looks here, right? I mean, it looks like you just look at them and they're going to fall out. Okay, I'm going to give this thing power and let it load. Go through the loading cycle. And there's where the guides go once they're fully loaded. Now, if I pop this open, can I get in there again and just make sure that everything's spotless? I don't know if I can reach in here now with the mechanism loaded. Another guide way up top here. Man, the tape gets pulled out at quite the angle. Okay, I'm going to let this thing dry for, you know, a few minutes before I try loading a tape, and we'll see whether I've made any difference. Probably put the bottom on it while I'm waiting because there's nothing to access from the bottom. Reset button right there. This was a relatively expensive machine. I think I paid $1,200 for it. So, and that was, I bought it at like cost from the shop I used to work for. After I left there, I went in there and I said to the owner, because I'd been gone for years. I left in 2003. Probably bought this in 2007, maybe 2007, 2008. I had a couple of HDV cameras at this point, right? So I wanted it for playing back my tapes for my HDV cameras, and he was sitting on this thing in the shop, and I knew that he wanted to get rid of it because it was like $12.99 retail, I think was what it was. And I think I paid maybe paid $1,000 for it. He just wanted to get rid of it because it was one of these things that, you know, didn't sell, and it didn't sell because it was an expensive product. Hopefully that's dry enough now and it's not going to eat anything. We'll see what happens. Well, that's a good sign. I didn't get the beep 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 and the eject symbol that's on this tape. Oh yeah, a test tape. You see what, I don't know if you saw that, but when it went into rewind, the tape counter didn't start to move instantly. Almost like there was slack. That's what made me think maybe the tape is sticking to something. I am right. The tape's not moving, but it's not sticking, but it's not moving. I haven't figured out why yet because I can't see the tape. Oh, we're going to solve that problem. We're going to give ourselves an inspection port so that I can see if the tape is moving. Should have used these test shots for the video I did yesterday showing off the cameras. I should have used this test shot. I think this was, I don't know what camera this was, but it was shot 2022. It was when I was testing cameras out. Of course, the other thing it could be is it could be one of these gears. The pendulum may be sticking a bit. That might be something to investigate, but it's, to get at that, I'd have to pull this whole mechanism apart to get to that pendulum gear to see how free it is. Because I mean, these hubs have been known to crack too, but the pendulum gear, if it wasn't flipping back fast enough to get to rewind, the take-up spool might not turn quick enough, and that could certainly cause a tape slack. So that's another thing I was thinking about, is maybe the pendulum gear, although it seems to be free here. I don't see any sticking on it. It turns freely. This is it here. It doesn't stick. It moves really freely. There's no cracks on the retainer for the pinch roller or anything. The error code that came up is either supply or take-up hub failed to turn. That's why I was thinking perhaps the pendulum gear was maybe sticking, or some debris on the transport was causing the tape to stick. Because this gets a lot of unknown tapes, and I've had tapes go through here that are damaged. I've had tapes gone through here that people have attempted to splice and didn't tell me that they broke their DV tape and they spliced it and then gave it to me to transfer, and I found out when it was going through the machine that the tape had been spliced. And well, we all know how great the splice job is that some people do, like that one I had a few weeks ago where the guy had a big gap of adhesive that stuck inside the machine. You know, if someone told me, oh yeah, I broke this tape and I spliced it, first thing I'm going to do before running it through the machine is to check it, to see whether the tape, whether it's been damaged or whatever, right? But the pendulum gear does not appear to be sticking in any way that I can see. Alright, Alright, I've let it rest for a while. Let's just see whether it's going to act up, because it usually acts up after it's been sitting for a few minutes. And we got that glitch again. I guess I have to investigate further. Here's a fair bit of dust in here. Let's dust it off. Make sure there's no dust jamming anything up. I don't want to do that with the guides retracted because they're loose. I did it when the guides were fully loaded so that nothing could move from the air pressure. I put some tape over the end sensors. I wonder if I can get this thing to think that it's got a cassette in it. Okay, it's giving me the message to reinsert the cassette. Can I see what it's doing here with my flashlight perhaps? Okay, it's turning the take-up spool, and now it's turning the supply spool. Oh, you know what it's waiting for? There we go. Just want to watch what it does when it loads here. Okay, so it's looking for the spool to spin. Okay, when I load it down here, it goes in this way. Like nothing's sticking. I'm looking through here. I know you guys can't see it because it's overexposed on the camera, but nothing is sticking. Everything's turning like it's supposed to. That message comes up because the the supply spool did not turn when it moved forward. So it tries to unwind and then goes forward. When I load it down, oops. When I load it down, if I turn, so it thinks that the tape is turning. I don't get the error. So it must be slack. There's a cover here which I can probably remove. It's got 2 screws on it. I wonder if I remove this cover, whether I'll be able to see the tape, what the tape is trying to do. Being able to see what's going on, whether the tape spools are turning, for example, is pretty important when you're trying to troubleshoot the mechanism, because I don't know whether it's an electrical problem or a mechanical problem at this point. It could even be the mode switch, which it probably is the mode switch. But until I can see what's going on, it's really tough to kind of guess, because I don't know if the tape spools are turning or attempting to turn, or what's going on when there's a tape in there, because I can't see anything, because Sony in their wisdom did not give us a window that we could actually see the tape. It would have been nice if they did, but they didn't. Get to those screws so I can remove them. Here we go. Now I can remove the screws. Little teeny tiny screws. Now maybe I'll be able to see what the cassette is actually doing when it's in there. If I can open this up now and take this out. Oh, can I see it now? Maybe. maybe I can see the cassette window. That's been the problem, is the cassette window has been blocked, so I can't see what it's doing. And when you're trying to troubleshoot, it's nice to be able to see what the actual mechanism is doing. Okay, tape goes in. And of course it works fine this time. It goes reverse and then forward. It's funny they give you this window here, right? But you can't see anything in it because it's all blocked up. But now I can see the tape going in. Reverse and then forward, which is what it's supposed to do. I wonder if I can get a shot for you guys to see the tape turning. If we can see the progress here, what's going on. Can we see the tape? Yeah, you can see the tape hub there. I'll eject it. And then we'll put the tape back in. You'll see the tape will go backwards and then forward. It goes back slowly, then it goes fast, and then it goes forward. So it starts slow, then it goes reverse and then forward. That's what it's supposed to do, but that's what it wasn't doing when it was acting up. Now I don't know whether blowing the dust out of here, if there was any dust in here, maybe that was causing it, because I'm going to have to let this thing sit for a bit, and we'll get back to it again, because I say once it would work, it would work fine. So we'll let it sit for a bit more. Now I should point out that I've already checked to see if there's any cracked gears, and there's not. That's the first thing I looked at, was looking for cracked gears. So far it's working. It's been about 30 minutes since I loaded this last. I'll try it again. That is working. I wonder if it really does need this thing on. I guess it does, so that when you put the tape in and you close it down this way. Yeah, okay, it needs that plastic piece on top. If I close it down this way, I can latch it in place. But it's good to see the operation, and I can actually see it from here, through here, when the cassette loads. If that plastic wasn't there, if there was a window through here that I could see it, I'd be able to see what was going on when it acts up. But now it's working. You go to reverse and then higher speed and then forward. I had a great little idea. I just cut a little inspection hole in this plastic cover using my Dremel tool and my snips to shape it and remove the plastic. That way I have a place where I can look and I can see what the tape is doing when it's threading. Wish I thought of this before. This way the support will be there, but I'll be able to see what was actually happening as the tape loads. So pull the tape out. I'm going to pop this thing back in. throw those two little tiny screws back in to hold it in place. And when I say tiny, I mean these are the smallest of screws. When it loads, I should be able to see the tape turning. I think I got the window in the right place. Do I? Yes, I have the window in the correct place. I can see the tape go down. I can see it turn. There it goes, left, and then right. Cool. Now I can see the tape. Can I see it through the window in the top here? Probably not because of this. But let's just put the other cover back on while I'm at it. We'll put this cover back in place. I'll still be able to see it through the back here. Yeah, it goes on like that. And then the other two screws go in the top here. Of course, you guys couldn't see that because I had the light in the way, but now I can look through here. I can see the tape in the back here, and I can see through that window. When I close this down, I can see the tape spinning left, or rewind, and then forward. Now it's working. Can we see the tape down through here? Probably not, because it's too far back. Yeah, I can just see the red lid in here. It's kind of useless. This window here is kind of useless. So I've been trying this several times over the last several minutes, and it seems to be working. So I'm going to leave it at that. At least now I've got an inspection port, which I can see the tape turning. Even if I leave this door open, I can see that. I don't have to close this for it to work. But I can leave the door open, and I can shine a flashlight in there, and I can see the actual tape. And in fact, I could probably enlarge that that window a little bit more. But I can see the tape, no problem. Maybe bring the window over a little bit to the right, just give me a little bit more view space. But I can certainly see it where that is. So that way, if I am having trouble, I can see where the trouble is, see what's going on, see if the tape spool is turning, for example. And if I go to rewind, you see, I just noticed something. It just acted up. It did not go into rewind. The tape spool did not rewind, and that is where the problem has been. So now we see where the trouble is. And when it unwinds, it rolls back. Interesting. So the tape, when it kicked, it stopped. The supply spool did not turn. But why? Is it the tape sticking to something inside the machine, or is it the tape spool itself not turning? It seemed to happen when I went to go into rewind. Go to rewind. Now it works fine. If I got nothing else out of this, I got an inspection port where I can see the tape. I can see what the tape is doing in the mechanism. So if the tape's not turning, for example, I can see it. Rewind it back to the beginning. And this time it didn't turn. The supply spool did not turn when it went to rewind. Like the tape is slipping. I wonder if it's slipping on the pinch roller. That's a possibility too. It's a possibility that's where the problem is slipping on the pinch roller. Because the pinch roller moves the tape in both directions. One last thing I'm going to try on this is the mode switch. There is a mode switch in here. It's right down in here on this gear. It's hard to see. I'm giving it a shot of cleaner. I couldn't show you on camera because I just couldn't get the camera in there, but the mode switch is right on that black gear that you see down here. It's on the bottom side of this cam gear. It has contacts that basically make contact with a circuit board. It's got material, copper, exposed copper. I put a little drop of cleaner down there. You can see it. And I've worked the mechanism through a few times. It's possible that that's been my problem. It just intermittently doesn't make contact, because what appears to happen when it goes to go into forward or reverse is I didn't hear the motor. I didn't hear I did not hear the load motor activate to engage the pinch roller, because the pinch roller pulls the tape on under all circumstances, whether it's in forward, reverse, fast forward, rewind, search, play. Anytime the tape moves, it's moved between the pinch roller and the capstan, and I did not hear the motor kick in. The times that it was acting up, I did not hear the motor try to activate. So I'm thinking maybe, like the times that it worked, I could hear the load motor, but the times it didn't work, I didn't hear the load motor. Right, now that's working. You see now when I hit fast forward or rewind or whatever, you'll hear the load motor kick in momentarily, and then it'll start to wind. There it goes, you see. But the times when it wasn't working, I did not hear it. So it appears to be working now. I'm just going to keep an eye on it and see if it'll... I mean, when it does act up, all I end up generally would do, and this is what makes me think maybe it was maybe the mode switch was causing some trouble, is because when it did act up, what I would do is I would just do this about 5 times. And then it would always work. I would open and close it without a cassette. And then it would always work. So maybe it is the mode switch. It's just so bloody intermittent when it does it that it's hard to tell. I certainly don't want to tear this mechanism down to take the mode switch out. I just don't want to do it because the machine's functional. And I can make it functional by just loading and unloading a few times. See, I didn't hear the load motor come on there that time. It just turned on the capstan motor, but I did not hear the load motor engage it. It did not engage the pinch roller. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be that damn mode switch. I guarantee that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the mode switch. It's sometimes not being read. Damn it! I've loaded and unloaded this thing multiple times. I fast forward and rewound it. It seems to be working okay now. I'm going to let it run before I put the top back on it again. Let this thing run and just see what happens. But I guess a combination of a few things. Maybe some dirt from tapes got stuck inside that. I think probably the mode switch, which I gave it a shot of cleaner. I think that probably was the biggest culprit on this one. Was when you go into any mode, it has to engage the pinch roller, and it uses the mode switch to detect whether it's engaged or not. And I think probably what was going on was it was misreading the switch due to debris just from oxidation and it not being used a lot. It was misreading that switch and starting the capstan motor, but the pinch roller wasn't engaged, therefore the tape didn't turn, which I was able to confirm because now with my new inspection port right here, I'm able to see the tape is turning. And what was happening was, well, I could hear the motor running, but the tape spool was not turning at all in either direction, which is an indication that the pinch roller, which we can't see, was not engaged. And I think that's where maybe we ran into some problems, was the mode switch was a bit dirty. I did give it a shot of cleaner. It seems to be working now, so fingers crossed, we got it. I put the top back on it. We're going to let it run. I'll run a few tapes through it and make sure everything's good, but it seems to be working properly now. So yeah, I spent a little bit of time on this, but I think we got it. I think I'll know. I'll know as I run it. I'll know. But really what I should do is use this thing more. It doesn't get a lot of use, and that's part of the problem with all electronics, is if they don't get a lot of use, then they tend to deteriorate. I tend to keep this machine for HDV tapes because when I'm doing DV transfers to the computer or to MP4 files, I generally use the DHR1000 for regular DV, and I keep this one for HDV, and it doesn't get a lot of use. It doesn't get as much use as it should. Back when I was shooting on HDV, this thing was used constantly as my playback machine. But since I stopped shooting on tape, this has basically been just sitting there on my desk for when I need it. And that isn't very often for HDV tapes. So maybe the mode switch got a bit gummed up. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking, that the mode switch just got a bit dirty and stopped functioning. But I'm going to continue to test it. At this point, it looks like it's working fine. Fingers crossed it'll stay working. Thanks for watching.